Alright, so listen to this. Alright. Last night, I come from hospital with a patient in the back of my unit, in the back of the ambulance. It's a privately owned ambulance and we only service one specific area because we're contracted to them. Right? I'm bringing a patient home. It was not an emergency. There was an accident on the road out by Rosal, the Rosal Highway. Somewhere out there, so one accident happened on the road. Somebody got hit and they died. Rest in peace to them. This is not about them. Right? Condolences to their families. We're based on where I am in the traffic. Police just come on the scene and lucky off. I said nobody now pass. They must secure the scene until, whosoever come, probably take up the body or examine the scene. Fine. We don't need to pass. We're not in a hurry. Again, it is not an emergency. So we don't have on no siren. Just our emergency lights are on. A man directly behind us, driving a privately owned vehicle, come knock on the window and ask we if we can take the person in his car to the hospital because they're actively having a stroke. I say, fine. No, we can't because we have a patient here in the back of the unit. So I said, there's nothing that you can do. I said, no, I can't take the patient, but I can go up to the front and ask the police if they can allow us to pass, me and you to pass, because I will turn on the siren, turn on the emergency lights and allow us to pass because you're having a stroke. I went and I looked at the lady, I examined her, and I just, based on how she looked, she was having a stroke. Her face was drooping. She had numbness in the arm, in one side of her body. She was losing feeling in the arm completely. And her consciousness, her level of consciousness was declining. Fine. I took her vitals, checked her oxygen levels, yada, yada, before I went up there to see the police. I go up there to see police, them, I'm going to go stutter because I know I'm still in shock. I go up there to the police and I said, hi, my name is such and such. Good night. I'm an EMT. The flashing lights that you're seeing down there, I'm in the back of that unit with a patient. My patient is not having an emergency, but somebody directly behind the ambulance is actively having a stroke. Can you allow us to pass? The man said, do you have sirens on? Does your vehicle have sirens? He said, yes. I said, yes. He said, okay, we recognize the emergency sirens. You can pass. I said, can the person behind us pass? He said, you have to take that person and put them in an ambulance so that they can pass. I said, no. I explained the situation to him, explained to him when I work and who is in the back of my ambulance and that there's a family in there. I cannot take up a patient. However, the person behind us, there's somebody driving the vehicle. It's not the person that's having the stroke that's driving, There's somebody driving. Can you come and direct us out, because it wasn't far back in the traffic, so that they can pass? The man said, no. So I say, who is in charge here? The same time, the big old man with the big old face come and ask what is happening. I tell him what is happening. He said, no, you can't pass. So I said, let me get this straight. I am telling you, right, that there's somebody in the back of a vehicle right now actively having a stroke. And if you know nothing about stroke, people, if you don't know about stroke, let me tell you, within the first hour of you having the stroke is the most critical hour because brain cells, they do not regenerate. So if there's extensive damage done during a stroke, that whatever damage is done is irreversible. If them hand now move and their hand stop work because that side of the brain is damaged, no oxygen, whatever, that is it. Let me tell us that when we go back around there, the lady face is like this and her right arm is like this to her chest, and I tried to move it and it wouldn't move. So say it is progressing pretty fast. And I went back up there and the man tell me, say, lady, you can turn on your siren and leave, but nobody else cannot drive behind you and leave. People, that makes sense? I am so upset. That means I go talk about it. I mean, I go send no video, but here what the man tell me, say, if I turn on my siren, even though I explain to him, say I'm not having an emergency, so I don't really need to bypass traffic, because my patient understands, say, hey, there was an accident in the road, we might be here for a few minutes. And them say, all right. You go tell me, say, all right, you turn on the siren, you can't leave, because we recognize the emergency vehicle. We recognize emergency vehicles and their sirens, so you can pass. But the person behind you who is actively having a stroke, have you sit down and wait? So I sat there and I waited with them in the traffic, just continuously checking for them. Thank you to my patients for allowing me to just go and do that. So I was just checking on her, because when you're having a stroke, there's nothing I can do as an EMT in Jamaica. There's absolutely nothing I can do but get her to the nearest facility as fast as possible and continue monitoring her vitals until we get there. Nothing. We in a traffic. We did it for about a good half an hour. People, half an hour. So the last time I checked on the lady, she could not speak to me. When I went to her at first, she could tell me her name, her speech was slurred, whatever. The last time, which is about 5 minutes before they let us pass, which is when they release everybody, everybody. 5 minutes before they let us pass, she could barely speak to me. She could barely speak to me. And this is why I feel like the Jamaican Constabulary Force need to be retrained, because there is no way me can't tell her that. I go tell me, say, no, you can pass, but them have to sit down and wait.